Hi gang, it's Libby. So it's Monday, the first day of our clean eating challenge. And one of the most important things I think there is to learn when you start to think about what you're putting into your body is how to read the nutrition facts label. Most people have no idea how to read these, and honestly, it was confusing to me at first until I learned a few basic principles. So get out your sheet that I attached here and follow along with me. And once you learn these basic tips, I believe that you'll be a smarter shopper. You'll be able to tell if something is really low in fat or sugar and what that means. I believe that if you're educated to make those informed decisions, that you and your family will be the healthier for it. So first, let's look up top right under the nutrition facts heading next to number 1. This is where you start. Here is listed the serving size. Okay, so right under that, next to the number 2, is the calories per serving. These two pieces of information are very important to know because something may say low calories, and that's great, but that's because the serving size might be really tiny, and you compare that the serving size on the box to what you are actually eating, and in most cases we're eating 2 to 4 servings of something, and that triples or quadruples your calories. So in the end, because you're eating so much of that low fat food, it's not so low in calories after all if you look at it through your whole diet. So now let's move down to block number 3, and you'll see the following listed: total fat, which includes the saturated and the trans fat, cholesterol, sodium, and sugar. And you also see the carbs and the protein there, but for our purposes here, we're not going to worry about those two nutrients right now. The idea is to learn to look for foods that are low in sugar or low or don't contain any saturated or trans fat. So the big question here is what is considered low, and then, well, what is considered high? Well, the nutrition label figures it out for you. So if you look over to the right-hand side by the number 6, you'll see a quick reference guide. According to the nutrition standards, products that contain 5% or less of any of those items listed in block 3 are considered low. And the opposite of that, 20% or more, are considered high. So I think this is a great way to get a general idea about what a product contains. But remember, those numbers are based on a person consuming a 2,000 calorie diet. So those percentages might be higher or lower depending on your individual calorie needs. But I think, and I actually believe, that basing your selections on products that are in the low to medium range is a safe bet for most people, unless you have some other existing medical condition. You'll always want to go with what your doctor tells you. So lastly, let's talk about salt, or sodium as it's listed on the label. Most processed food, especially canned food, because that's how they're mostly preserved, contain really high amounts of salt. Now, salt in small amounts, and I mean less than a teaspoon a day, is not considered bad for you, but salt eaten in high amounts, and it's hidden in a lot of foods, can lead to such things as high blood pressure, bloating, water retention, weight gain, and a lot of diseases like diabetes and kidney failure and things like that. So you'll really want to use this guide to help you find foods that are low in sodium. So I hope this video gave you some quick tips on how to use the nutrition label and help you make smarter decisions. Because remember, when it comes to clean eating, you'll want to avoid processed convenience foods as much as you can. And if you do purchase something, just make an attempt to read that label. If it contains an ingredient that you can't pronounce or you're unsure what it is, it's probably not clean. But the idea here is not to go cold turkey. I understand. I have been eating Hidden Valley Ranch for years. I grew up on it. Before I decided to make my own or just buy a clean version that didn't contain the preservatives or thickeners, I understand that struggle. But I promise you, in the end, if you just slowly, incrementally try to make some small changes this week, your body in the long run will thank you. So thanks for listening. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon.